We are here at Oak Creek in Sedona, Arizona, and we are going to diagnose the continental terraforming of the true ancients who laid down sections of crystalline concrete to build the continental features in their entirety. So we're looking at Oak Creek's riverbank right here, and we see immediately what we always see, which is that a straight line vertical seam is running through geology's time periods. So one line is bisecting at least two major geological time periods according to geology. They say that this is sedimentary sandstone, which is laid down in time periods. So then the question is, how can this time period, that layer, and this time period be bisected by the same vertical line? And the answer is, it cannot. That's how we know it's building. So we're going to go down to the creek itself, and we're going to find what we always find, which is 45-degree angle sectioning. The true ancients who built the continents used the 45-degree angle to the flow of the creek, to the flow of the river, to the flow of the watercourse as their primary angle of construction. So we're here at Red Rock Crossing on Oak Creek in Sedona, Arizona. And what the true ancients did when they built this watercourse for Oak Creek was to channel water. See these deep gouges? These are at 45s to the flow. They're all the same angle, all these gouges. So they're channeling the water, okay? The reason they're channeling the water is they want to break the water. They want to slow it down, and that's also why this section, this panel, is raised up. And then we've got a channel, and then this is raised up about halfway, and here's a channel, and then this section is at the bottom level, and then this comes up again, right? So this is another braking system here, and all this texturing is braking. It's breaking the flow of the water, breaking the speed of the water. Then what they did was they created seams in their material. So they sectioned their material at nearly a right angle to the channels. The reason that the watercourse builders, the hill builders, the mountain builders in the distant past built a braking system on this bank is that this creek was designed by them to flow down steeply. It's rushing down, you can see the rapids, right? And then it's making a right angle turn. They wanted to push the water this way. They didn't want it to come up, so they raised up the level of their material to break it. See how they're breaking it? They're stopping the water from coming this way. Really, really tall layers, right? And then they're channeling. So they've got these deep gouges, and then raise it up. They're raising it up from the original level, and then a deep gouge, and they're breaking it by channeling it. So if the water is coming this way, they don't want that. So they're going to try to break it and channel it and make it lose its energy. And then they sectioned all of their channeled sections with integral seams, straight line seams. And it ends up being almost like 45 degrees to the flow of the creek. So there's a pointer. Always look for pointers at the creek banks, and the pointer points to the creek. So that's a 45 to the flow, and that's a 45 to the flow, almost a 45. So you see these straight line seams that are 45s to the flow. There's another one. And this seam parallels the channel. So you have this channel here, this deep gouged channel that's used as a braking system. And then they textured the surface of the material to break the water even more. So there's another deeply gouged channel. So they really cared about making sure that the water that's rushing down from up there did not make its way that way. They wanted to push it to the right. So that's what they did. This is all highly engineered. Deep gouge channel, which goes for, let's say, 35, 40 meters. And that's just one. That's just one. And then different levels to make sure the water is being pacified. It's flowing straight down into this and stopping, slowing down. See the different levels? Different levels. So that's what they did. They have a rushing creek and they wanted to slow the momentum of the water. That's how meticulous the true ancients were in their building. And geologists say all this just happened. They say all this just happened. Straight lines just happened. It's just happened that way. Oh, really? Interesting. So nature just made straight lines in sandstone. Interesting. So your theory explains nothing. The theory of natural geology is just a bunch of geologists throwing up their hands and going, it just happened. It just formed. How? Well, we don't have that answer. Well, the continental terraforming theory, the artifice theory, the artifact Terra theory, hashtag artifact Terra, explains what we see. This is a braking system. Braking system. And to join their sections of material together, they did almost right angle lines to the channels. Almost right angle. Interesting, huh? So it ends up being 45s to the flow, basically. 45s to the flow. The true ancients who built the continents built watercourses as the foundations for hills and mountains. They built that too. There's no mechanism for regular verticality in nature as far as terrain goes. So all of that must have come into existence by artifice. Must. And yet the geologists just drive by it, walk by it, take a horse by it. They don't care. They don't care that there's no mechanism in nature for creating regular vertical sides in this crystalline concrete, in this crystalline material. I call it concrete, they call it rocks. It's not rocks. Creek's flowing straight toward us. And here's the tall braking system. Another tall braking system is braking the water. Braking the water, pushing it to the right. This whole ledge, that little ledge out there, all these ledges were created and have stood the test of time to break the flow of that creek. It's not that powerful right now, but when there's more water, it's going to come up here and it's going to be pushed to the right, which is where they wanted it to go. Why? You'll have to ask them. I didn't get the memo. I just want to show you the straight line seam in the true ancients' iron oxide rich concrete. This is a seam that geologists ignore because it's a straight line. So there's no way that this could exist in sedimentary material. Here's one right next to it. Notice the regularity of the, that's my signature move. I pat the sides, the regular sides of these sections whenever they're not flush. If it was flush, it would be there. But it's sticking out because this one's lower on the right. So we have this, we can see the interior of the section face. Now, this is not perfectly straight. This joined at an almost right angle to the original seam. And notice the seam goes through all these layers of material. This is supposed to be sedimentary material. These are supposed to be time periods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This line goes through all those. So of course that cannot be natural because nature has no mechanism to make a vertical line through 10, 20, 30 time periods, layers of sedimentary material. So we know it's not sedimentary material. And again, we see how one line bisects in different layers. Here's a layer, right? But the line goes through all. Just to be clear, I'm going to go really slow for the geologists because they're a slow bunch. Really nice people. They're sort of like the Forrest Gumps of the academic world. Big hearts, but dumb as stones. Okay, so straight line seam, same angle as the other straight line seams. Oh, gee, I wonder why. And it's almost disappears, but it keeps going. But it dog legs, so it does keep going here. Here's some modern day asphalt covering the seam, but we'll just keep going. Perfectly straight, impossible on sedimentary material. There's no reason for any of that. Oh, and it just keeps going through massive layers, what geology would call time periods. These are supposed to be time periods according to geology, right? So here's one time period, right? There's another time period. Then we've got a whole bunch of time periods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, blah, 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 blah. All of those are bisected by this seam that goes right on through them. All right? So we know that's building. There's no doubt about it, but geologists haven't looked at this. They don't care. Right next to the seam we were just looking at, see right here is the seam we were looking at, right? Then, going at exactly the same angle, is this straight line seam. La-da-dee-dee-dee. So we know it's building. Anybody who looks at it knows it's building. So geologists did not look at it. They might have had their eyes open when they walked past here, but they didn't look at it. Because to them, this is a crack. That's a natural fracture. So, which is ridiculous. Here's the checkerboard of seams that the true ancients laid down. So they're laying down sections of concrete, right? With straight line edges, different sizes and different shapes. Here's a nice narrow one. And you can see how incredibly precise these people are. These advanced races. And then we look again inside. We see the interior face. We see just how smooth. See how regular? So, geology wants us to believe that this right here is a crack that cracked down, and then it fell. That piece fell off. But a crack would find weaknesses in the material. It wouldn't leave a regular face like that. So this is probably the 500th time I've said that in a video. Now this looks like a real crack right here. This looks like a real crack. Look at it, look how jagged it is. It's in so many, it's jagged in different dimensions there. But on this side, it's perfectly regular, you see. So this looks more like a crack. In the normally completely integral concrete, because even though the surface has texturing to it, it looks like it's breaking apart, and it may be some erosion here. This may be erosion, but generally the concrete is completely integral. There's no cracks, no fractures. The only place we see lines is, oh, and there's a little dog leg, is when we see the seams, the straight line seams in the crystalline concrete. Oh look, here's one there. They dog-legged it and then they curved it. I've seen curving section seams before. So we see the insistent building, the insistent straight lines. You can see why Abby Lynn calls these panels. Here's a panel. We're walking on a panel. Let's walk on this narrow panel. Thanks for the terminology, Abby Lynn. Oh, but it does keep going. I thought it stopped, but this line keeps going. Oh, now it just disappears. It's so integral. Interesting. This is Jock Doubleday reporting from Oak Creek in Sedona, Arizona. On a beautiful day, we're diagnosing in real time together the continental terraforming, that is the continent building of the true ancients. Advanced races who built the continents in their entirety in the distant past. They built riverbeds and creek beds as foundations for hills, and hills as foundations for mountains. Geologists have a filter over their vision. They cannot see the material. So it's up to you. I hope you all have a scientific day.